Welcome to another Dragonlance Saga Hangout. It is Krynn Dark Ember the 19th. My name is Adam. I'd like to invite you to I'm messing this all up. I would like to take a moment and thank the DL Saga YouTube members and Patreon patrons and invite you to consider becoming a member or a patron by visiting the links in the description below. You can even pick up Dragonlance Media using my affiliate links. All links are in the description below. Yeah, how's it going? What's up, Giggles the Clown? Hello from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Hello from the upper middle area of Utah. The Salt Lake Valley, as it were. Man, it is, I just got done with like a 2-hour reading, and so my mouth is a little bit rubbery. But, you know, we're just going to chill out for a little bit. So come in, grab a drink. I'm enjoying some nice water. Tastes exactly like water. And yeah, I figured today we could talk a little bit about the Dragonlance, I'm sorry, not the Dragonlance, but the D&D Basic Sets and the AD&D Starter Sets. Because I think it's kind of interesting that the Basic Sets were only made for basic D&D. And it was meant to be like an introductory primer to the actual Dungeons and Dragons game, but it only gave you traditionally like 3-ish levels and very limited, you know, classes and races. And so once we got to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition, there were no basic sets for that at all. And I found that very interesting in that the original Holmes D&D basic set makes mention about if you want to play the advanced game, there is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and to check that out. And so it is the first D&D basic set, and it's the only one that suggests that there is an advanced version of the game that you will have in your hands right now in that basic set. And so when that was the first box set that I played with. Apparently my stepdad's ex-wife bought it for him when they were together, and he never touched it. And so when I was rifling through all of his stuff, as kids do, I found it, and it changed the course of my life forever. And so that was my first experience to Dungeons and Dragons. And as soon as I saw it had like this advanced reference, I was like, ooh, if this is the basic, what's the advanced like? And then years later, I was hanging out with a friend from middle school, and he said his brother had advanced Dungeons and Dragons books and that we could borrow them to play. And he would show me how to play the advanced version. And it was just like the world opened up for me. And so I very fondly reflect on D&D basic sets and just the basic Dungeons and Dragons game, but I never went back to play basic Dungeons and Dragons after I played advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So I have no idea if it's interesting or not. Hey, Julian, thanks for tuning in. New Jersey. I got a bunch of friends in New Jersey. How you doing? How's the weather out there in New Jersey? I assume in Michigan it's kind of crappy since it's just Michigan, northern. It's got to be wintry, I would imagine. Virginia, nice. I knew some people in Maryland, close to Virginia. How you doing, Melswick? Thanks for tuning in. And so with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, there were no basic sets at all. Full stop throughout the entire course of the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First and Second Edition game. There were, however, starter sets. Oh, you had snow, but it melted. All right. 40. Yeah, that's about what it is right now here. So the starter sets went through from second edition to third edition and fourth edition, and now, of course, fifth editions. And they have versions of them for like, it was 2 and 2.5, 3 and 3.5, 4, and then there's like 5.5, 5 and 5.5. And there's been a bunch of them for 5th edition so far, including branded ones like the Stranger Things one that I had spoken to a couple episodes back or so. And so the idea of starter sets for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, they didn't really give you limited information as much as they gave you the full information needed for the adventure contained therein. You know what I mean? And so it was all sort of engagement and adventure based. So the one that I pulled out, because I found it so interesting, is the only one that I know of that had an audio DVD with it. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said DVD, an audio CD with it. And that was the first quest. So they stopped doing the starter set nomenclature and they changed it over to the first quest. And this was meant to be your introduction to role-playing games. And it's all set in Mystara, as far as I know. It's all based around you taking on these characters from, let's see, Morganth the Mysterious, Slinker, Delvar Ironfist, Silverleaf Halfmoon, Lordan the Pure, Beldar the Brave. And of course, those are the core classes of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition. And hey, Chris, how you doing, man? Yeah, the best and most terrifying. And so you take these characters, and they were only like little character cards. There was really nothing to them. I mean, in size, they were like just under 5 inches by just under 7 inches. So 5 by 7 is a pretty small little handheld thing, less than like half of a folded sheet of paper. And that was where all your information was. What I love about these and about all of these starter sets in general is that TSR is cheap as hell. And so all they did was reuse art from other sources. So you get stuff like this. I wonder where that's from. Which Morganth the Mysterious looks suspiciously like Fizban the Fabulous. And his little friend here, Tasselhoff Burfoot. I just thought it was hilarious that they reuse all these assets. And, oh, that's a pretty nice one. So I wonder if these are Forgotten Realms people by the background. And look at that. It's Tanis Half-Elven. I mean, Silverleaf Half-Moon. So it's just hilarious, the reuse of art in all of this stuff all the time. But you know it's Mystara because it came with this massive... And I'm looking at the PDF. You can actually pick up the PDF at DriveThruRPG. It does not have the audio files, but I'm going to put in the show notes. It actually, you can find the audio files on YouTube. And you just search... Let's see, what did I search? First Quest audio or something to that effect. And it came up with it. So what I'd like to do is not listen to the whole thing because that doesn't make any sense. Just listen to a little bit together so we can get a basic understanding, if you've never heard this before, about what this would have been like for someone who knows nothing about Dungeons & Dragons, picks up First Quest for the very first time, puts the audio DVD or audio CD in, and this is what they get.
Old man, what are you doing in this temple of evil?
I am the last priest king of Detajuan Temple. What do you seek?
We have come to rescue Lord Easterling.
You must pass 3 trials. First, the trial by combat.
Watch the doors!
We must slay you all. Die, humans.
Fire, watch your back! Here! Keep your back to the wall! Watch your back!
What you have just heard is a typical adventure from the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons game known to insiders as AD&D. In AD&D, you get to be a brave hero who goes on dangerous adventures to save kingdoms and find lost treasure. As we listen to what a typical AD&D session might sound like, pull the character cards out of the box.
Hey guys!
Hey.
I just got the AD&D game.
Oh, wow.
Let's check it out.
I don't know. I heard it's a really hard game with a lot of rule books and stuff.
Oh, give me a break. Everything we need is in the box. See? And you don't even have to read them. I'll do it.
Don't be a wuss. I watched my brother play once and it looked like a blast. Come
Hey,
on.
it's easy. You guys don't have to do anything except use your imagination. I'll be the dungeon master since I already read the rules.
Oh, yeah, you're great.
Yeah. Okay, I got 4 characters here.
Okay, wait a minute. What's a character?
All right, each of you guys gets to be a character in the game.
Yeah?
One of you controls a fighter, one the wizard, one the thief, and one the cleric. Who wants to be the fighter?
Oh, I get it. It's kind of like being in a play.
Yeah, except for you'll get to make up your own lines.
Cool. I'll be the fighter.
I got the wizard.
Thief. Hey, I guess I'll take the cleric, even though I don't know what a cleric is.
Hey, no kind of character is better than any other. They're just different. Next game, you can play a fighter if you want to. All right, let's start the adventure. You're deep in the jungle, standing in front of one of those Aztec kind of pyramids. Yeah, you know the ones with the big steps?
Yeah, like down Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the Temple of the Lizard King.
Lizard.
The temple.
You're here to rescue Lord Easterling, who's been captured by the Lizardmen. Now, there aren't any doors or entrances near the ground, so you gotta climb the crumbling stone steps to the top of the pyramid.
Okay. How do we...
And there's a small stone building on top. The doorway's too dark to see into. You wanna go inside?
Come on. We didn't...
It's just so much fun hearing this stuff. Like if this existed when I was first picking up the D&D Basic Set or learning to play Advanced Dungeons & Dragons First Edition for the very first time, I would have eaten this up like nothing else, because it does very much feel like even the intro of the Dungeons & Dragons cartoon. It's just a bunch of friends hanging out, and then they just sort of get swept away into this fantastical realm. And what's great about this collection is that it has a bunch of different maps. So with basic D&D and Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, they really want you to base everything around this central hub originally. And so this hub is this town. And from there, you can then explore further and further out, like the old Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest game, where you'd start in a little kingdom and then you go around, get experience, and you level up, and then you go further and further away until, the story sort of unfolds from there. It's very much like that with Dungeons & Dragons, right? And so they'd start in the town, and then you'd explore stuff like this tomb of Damara, and you'd go to Harrow Hill and explore that, and you get more and more experience. They even have one for wild space in this. How awesome is that? So it's like Spelljammer, but, it never says the word Spelljammer at all. So, I don't know. It'll be weird. And then let's see. Mount Dread is another one. Look at that lizard man. Rawr. Gigantic caterpillar. Maybe that's the caterpillar that Raceland was talking about, the Great Caterpillius. Nice little beetle with a lightning butt. This is so much fun. I love this stuff. Awesome artwork. Fantastical stuff. But so you got everything in this. So you got the rule book, you have a Dungeon Master screen, you have the Wizards and Treasures book, Wizards spell book, Monsters and Treasure book. And like the monsters in here, they all look kind of happy. A little bit Scooby-Doo like in the art style, which I kind of dig, but is very second edition D&D style. Do you remember those monster manuals? It's like a monster compendium where it had a massive folder, and then it came with these inserts for each campaign setting that you could then, like I bought the Ravenloft and the Dragonlance setting for them, and you just put them in the big binder in between these binder dividers. Very, very cool stuff. But it's like that artwork, except this is colored in, and that one never was. It's so much fun. I love this stuff. Those ghouls are great. That gnoll just walks with his groin forward. They're so awesome. Anyway, I'm getting caught up here. There's the Wizard Spellbook, the Cleric Spellbook, the Adventure Book, which the Adventure Book is kind of like those Choose Your Own Adventures where you start and it says using the CD, it'll tell you on the sidebar which track to play and then when to pause it. And so let's say if we were starting this, preparing for play before you play. Okay, so at the start of play, you would listen to track 33. So let's find track 33 real quick just to see what it would sound like, because I'm curious. Because there's tons of different tracks in all of this. I mean, it goes to 60 of them. So track 33 is this. Okay, it's a commercial. Hold on. Here we go. Awesome. What? Is it? I wonder if this is lining up correctly. So track 33 is just music. I guess that's what that little indication is right there, that little key thing. Let's go to track 3 because that's the next one. So let's see, track 3.
Five gnolls, 2 hobgoblins, a lizard man, and 20 orcs I slayed, I did. 20 orcs flopping around like mackerel on my sword.
Ah! Don't you think you might be exaggerating just a wee bit, warrior? Perhaps maybe you badly bruised one orc.
What, you calling me a liar, will you, thief? Nobody calls Brandon Hardlow a liar. Just defend yourself now.
Hardlow, steel yourself. I think you made a serious mistake challenging the thief.
Well, this doesn't concern you, warrior. I challenged this miserable thief.
He might be miserable, but he is also formidable. I personally saw him whack a dragon bone from bone.
Whack a dragon.
You did?
From behind, of course.
Hey! Where'd that miserable thief go?
Look out, he's behind you.
Where? I don't see nothing.
Well, must have been mistaken. He moves like lightning. Invisible lightning.
Well,
So
if he
we're
ain't
basically
gonna
going
fight me,
through
no
the
point
second
waiting around
edition
here.
first
I got better
quest
things to do, you know.
starter set,
We seeing you.
and the I'm gonna go through the new beginning starter
I
set
like
as well.
nothing more than seeing the
Thanks
air
for
let
being
out of
here.
the
Thanks for being
blowhard.
here.
He's gone now, thief. You can come out of the shadows.
Ah, good. I thought I might actually have to fight that fool for a moment.
Dying violently is bad. Dying stupidly is inexcusable.
I know, but sometimes I just can't restrain myself, especially when I get bored. And the last few weeks haven't exactly been exciting.
I think that's just about to change. Hear ye! Hear ye! Hear ye! A terrible tragedy has bestruck this fair city. The High Wizard Nethril needs stout heroes to undertake a dangerous quest. If there be a thief, warrior, and wizard brave enough to match his words with deeds, let him follow me to the High Wizard's Tower!
Sweet.
Adventure calls, my friends.
Adventure
Let's take up the
calls.
challenge. I've had quite enough of this stinking duchy.
Not so quickly, warrior. The High Wizard is as cheap as they come. Got hoodwinked by him once.
Come now. It does no harm to hear what the High Wizard has to say. If we don't like his offer, we can decline.
All
Or
right.
can you?
But let me do the negotiating.
My Lord High Wizard, heroes are here to answer your call for assistance.
Sounds slimy.
Yes, well then I'll be brief and to the point. 2 days ago, the Elven Lord Terran set off on a secret mission to the ruins of Damara's castle, but he's not returned. I fear he has come to a foul end.
I know of Taran. He is a brave and clever fellow. Surely he told you something of his mission.
Well, yes, in cryptic words, but something of an ogre, an orb, and well, a singing orb.
An orb? What's an orb?
An orb is a globe of great power. Different orbs have different powers. It is rumored that King Damara had the orb of dragonkind, but it was never found.
Yes, well, I think Terran feared that it would be.
Lorak
The
took
plot
it.
thickens. If the elf was right, and it appears he was, we've not a moment to waste. Onward!
Now hold on there. Wait a second there, wizard. How much are we getting paid for this?
How to whack your dragon.
Whatever you think your lives are worth. For if the orb...
PG-13. We're not going to show that. So, yeah, I mean, just a whole lot of fun with this type of stuff. It tells you how to read the character cards. This is what the character cards look like. This is what they mean. These are what you can do. Like, in one round, you can do this. How to attack. If attack hits, do this. Make a saving throw. Experience points and stuff. And that's really all you need. And what I'm always blown away by people who only learn the game in later editions, and then when they think, if someone says, "Hey, let's play Advanced Dungeons and Dragons," they're like, I don't know how to play that. It seems like a whole lot of rules and stuff, and I'm gonna have to relearn a whole new game." It's the same exact game. There's some very basic differences, but the game is fundamentally the same. You have a certain amount you can move in around. You can have a certain, like an attack, and move half that amount or your full amount, which is the same now. You roll a 20-sided die and you want to roll high. That's the same. You add any bonuses or anything. Of course, the THAC0 is going to tell you whether you hit or not rather than the armor class of the person, but the THAC0 actually correlates to the armor class, so it's really not that different anyway, and it's just basic math of subtraction, or if it's a negative armor class, addition. And so I just don't see it as a challenging adjustment to play AD&D versus Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It's just the mentality of it being that, oh, it's older and it must take longer, combat must take longer, but really, in my opinion and in my experience, it takes the same or less time in combat than 5th edition does. And so it really has anything and everything to do with the willingness to give it a try, and the realization that it's not different at all, except that it improves on a whole lot of things. Like if you're going back to 1st edition, which is the one I like to play in, you don't have all those non-weapon proficiency skills bogging you down like you did in 2nd edition, unless you start doing like the Oriental Adventures, or in DLA Dragonlance Adventures, they added a few of them, but some of them were restricted to race and stuff, and there wasn't a whole lot of them anyway. And so it really didn't affect it that much. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see, I missed someone up here, I think. I am just an idea of me. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you, man. IDXIIR. Idixer? I don't know. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. 3 and 5 and 5e are too many rules. They have a lot of rules for sure. And that's where I think, 5th edition, actually the newest version of 5th edition is nice because it stripped away a lot of the rules and left some pretty fundamental ones in place. But then if you just go back to 1st edition, it was not categorized well and it wasn't organized well as far as the rulings, but it had just as many minuscule rules as the current 5th edition has. It's just, organized poorly, but it's actually plays a lot better because you have fewer skills to worry about. And so everything is just done through creativity and ingenuity rather than what appears on your character sheet. So anyway, that's why I liked it so much. And it's always nice, like reading this type of stuff to realize how stripped down AD&D 2nd edition was really until they got to like 2.5. Then it just went off the chart crazy with stuff. But how simple everything is. I don't know. I find it fun. And this is the character sheet. This is really all you need. It's crazy. Like you could throw in non-weapon proficiency skills and weapon proficiencies and all that stuff if you wanted, but you don't need them. You could just keep this as simple as possible and just have some fun. And especially when you're doing like one of these first quest adventures or these starter sets that are released, or the newest one I think is the Stranger Things. They're supposed to be stripped down versions to really get that foot in the door for people who are not aware of how to play the edition or the game as a whole. And then once you learn it and you like it, then you can get the books and learn about all the extra rules if you really want to dive into it. So that's what I love so much about it. Yeah, 1E and 2E, I played the hell out of those two. It was just all sorts of fun. But I love the adventure book because it's got the Tomb of Damara, the Ghosts of Harrow Hill, Across Wild Space, Under Mount Dread, and then how to make your own characters. So I want to go to some of these. The Tomb of Damara looks awesome. Where's the Wild Space one? I want to see if they mention Spelljammer. And the artwork. Come on. That's so fun. Just so cool looking. I can just stare at this stuff for hours. And that is wicked as hell. Come on. So fun. The Ghost of Harrow Hill. Look at these guys. This looks very Ravenloft. Especially this crazy kook right here. Erica's bedroom. Don't go in. All right, Across Wild Space. Did they mention anything? This adventure is used after you finish the first two. It's important to play those first since the adventure gives you more to do as a dungeon master. There are a number of things here that are different from the first two adventures. That's cool. And I love that it's just this Spelljammer experience. I've never actually played a Spelljammer game, and I want to do a Krynn Space Spelljammer game so bad. I think it'd be really, really fun. Captain Blotimus. Blotimus Hippopotamus. That's so much fun, man. Oh. Yes, who doesn't love space pirates? They're so wicked looking. And then Under Mount Dread. Mount Dread. Seeing like the full map laid out like that kind of reminds me of Hero Quest. Like I used to play Hero Quest ad nauseum with my brother because, you know, once you did the first 3 levels of the D&D Basic Set, you know, there's only so many times you can play that when you're limited in races, classes, and spells. And so we ended up getting Heroes Quest and playing the hell out of that and then going back to D&D after we played that. But that's, you know, Heroes Quest was just a bunch of empty rooms, and then the adventure would tell you what to build in the next room when you went through it. And then you'd have to like explore or destroy and stuff. And they have like new versions of Hero Quest nowadays. I'm not sure if it's any better or if it holds up or not. But I know as a kid, I loved them. And you could use all those furniture pieces and tokens and monsters for your D&D game. And so it was just another great way of playing D&D with little figures. Ah, look at this gnome giving a raspberry. Or the little troglodyte stuck like a cookie in the dude's mouth. Yes! Yes! The evil cleric. Get them, zombie! Like Snidely Whiplash. Twisting his mustache. Those good heroes will do no good here. Oh, so much fun. I love this stuff. God. And then, of course, Fizzban. Okay, so that's all to say that I had a whole lot of fun playing AD&D 2nd Edition. I never played this with the audio. I think it would be... I mean, it would probably take a long time to go through, but it would be really fun to set up like... I mean, it would probably be more than a one-shot, of course. It would probably be like a 4-shot or something like that to go through the adventures. Because I imagine each of these adventures is meant to be like a 1-session type game. But to get how many players is it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players together. Each of them plays one of these character cards. And then just run through these adventures with the audio as a live stream. I think that'd be so much fun. Do you think playing 1st edition would be challenging to run virtually for a group that's not familiar with it? No. Ricardo, thank you for tuning in live. I've been running 1st edition for people who have never played it before on this channel. So It's really easy. If you know first edition, and I have how to play first edition videos on this channel, I have a whole playlist on how to play Advanced Dungeons and Dragons first edition. It's really simple, like really, really easy. I mean, just as easy as fifth edition is, if not easier. And so, I think it would be a very fun, playthrough to do with this first quest on the channel. But also, I want to play this so bad. It was brought up in my last night's or yesterday's review of a book, and now I can't stop thinking about it. And so I went through here and I just started like looking at the actual PDF. So again, this is available on DriveThruRPG. It's a couple bucks. I don't know what it is actually. Probably like $10 or something like that. But it's great. So I just kind of wanted to flip through this a little bit with you guys and just sort of talk about it. So this is set in Taladas, and Taladas is the continent that's on the northern hemisphere of Krynn, that's separated from Ansalon by the Isles of Taladas is really what they're called, I think. But yeah, I mean, like there's a chain of islands that lead up to it. There's a whole sea elf world underneath them. And then the Irda, when they left Krynn, they originally went to these islands, to one of them called Anatha. And then Anatha, during the Cataclysm, split in half, and their prophet basically said the pure of the Irda ogres will, travel with him, and they all left on the other island, and that's the island, the new Anatha, where the Grey Gem was cracked open, and it actually was moved all the way over to the northwestern side of the continent of Ansalon, in the Turbulent Ocean. And the existing Irda ogre remaining piece of the island just stayed there, and all of the Irda on there degenerated from their incredibly intelligent and, thoughtful ways into just being basically not much better than like apes. They could talk and play and had little straw huts and stuff like that, but they degenerated significantly. Even more, in my opinion, than ogres did, like traditional ugly, monstrous ogres. So that was crazy. So this would be really, really fun to sort of just get into and play a little bit. How to use this? You have to have the Time of the Dragon box set. And that can be kind of confusing if you've never looked at it before, because it's a big, big, big continent. And it has a ton of brand new cultures that are completely different than what you're used to on Krynn in Dragonlance. The Dragonlance Adventures book. So that was a 1.5 edition book. And they're saying, no, you should definitely use that too. I think because they didn't have the Tales of the Lance box set. And so they didn't have the Dragonlance Player's Companion book yet. And so, because the Tales of the Lands box set came after people didn't buy Taladas, the Time of the Dragon box set, because they didn't want anything to do with Taladas, because that wasn't Dragonlance to them. And so TSR said, all right, well, we'll just go back to Dragonlance as everyone knew it. And then they put that stuff out. But until then, there was no second edition Dragonlance content. You had to use the Dragonlance Adventures book. So they even tell you that in here. Most of the material in this module is used by players and DMs, except for in the final chapter. It's divided into 5 chapters, of course. We got creating characters, what you need and how to create a character. And this is always stripped down so that it's catered for beginning players of AD&D 2nd edition. And what always bugged me is that they never, whenever they referenced Advanced Dungeons and Dragons in 2nd edition, they hardly ever referenced it as AD&D 2nd edition. They just referenced it as AD&D, because the game itself didn't fundamentally change that much between AD&D 1st and 2nd editions. They did a whole bunch of reorganizing. They changed a couple class features and race features and stuff like that. But as far as like the game itself, it really didn't fundamentally change much. And so you could easily, and I did this a lot, used a lot of the AD&D 1st edition materials with 2nd edition. And so I would carry around a backpack with the D&D Holmes Basic Set and my AD&D Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide and Monster Manual, and Dragonlance Adventures, and then also the second edition Tales of the Lance box set, so that we could play second edition D&D, but I referenced all of the old content, especially the old Dungeon Master's Guide because in Dragonlance, especially like Leaves from the Inner Last Home, it has Raceland's like whole list of his herbs and, sort of natural cures and what parts of the body these different herbs and roots affect. Well, the old Dungeon Master's Guide had a whole chart on herbs and roots and stuff. And so I would have any spellcaster reference that for the effects. And they could use that book, that appendix in the Dungeon Master's Guide, to make up their own salves or balms or potions or whatever by finding those roots or those components. And it was just a really great way of accessing a side of the game that I've never seen replicated anywhere. Like, I've never seen that chart revisited in any other D&D game, but they always mention, mages and clerics need their components. Okay, well, what are the components? Like, it tells them, you're going to need a piece of a rod, or you're going to need like some steel wool, or, like bat wings or some stupid thing like that. But there's also a whole bunch of like roots and stuff that you could be referencing for spell components, which would be super fun, and it's never there. So I don't know. What famous DMs do you like and take ideas from? I don't watch other DMs, to be honest. I can't even watch Critical Role. Like, I can watch maybe 5-10 minutes of it before I get bored. I can't watch other people play when I could just play. I'm the same way with sports too. I cannot sit down and watch sports. I'd rather play sports than watch sports. And it's the same thing with video games or D&D. I'd rather play it than watch it. I don't like to sit there and just be passive. The old DMG is still the best. I agree wholeheartedly. So anyway, character creation is super simple and stripped down in here, and you can see all the different races. You got Kender, gnomes. This gnome looks like a garden gnome. Look at him. I'm assuming this is what is that? Is that a plainsman or a half-elf? It's got to be a half-elf. And then a minotaur, and then your elf, and then a human and a dwarf. Where's the Ire to Ogres? They were in the DLA Dragonlance Adventures game. Probably because they weren't in Taladas, so it's not showing them in Taladas. Minotaurs in Taladas are way different than the Bloodsea Minotaurs. That's actually where the Bloodsea Minotaurs originally came from, as far as Dragonlance lore goes, from Taladas. And then they came south and they were enslaved and just completely created this whole different culture based around how they were treated in the tournaments as slaves. It's pretty crazy. Choosing your character's race, choosing your alignment. I love these illustrations. They're so much fun. And you have like consolidated information here that would be, you could just find this in the Dungeon Master's Guide, or the Player's Handbook. The second edition Player's Handbook, I think, has it. And then tips. What are the tips? I want to know. Being players who are completely new to the AD&D may feel overwhelmed at first. This is only natural. It seems there's a lot to learn. Rest assured, once you've played the first few game sessions, the rules will seem like second nature to you. Equipping your character. When you first comes time to purchase your equipment for your first character, you'll likely discover that in real life you're in a limited budget. Yeah. Here's some suggestions. Rope. Every player needs rope. Dagger, knife, flint and steel, a pack, oil, holy water, food, wineskin, iron spike and piton. And if you're a warrior, you need weapons and armor. If you're a priest, you need weapons and holy symbols, mirrors and garlic. Thief class, lockpicks, armor. Wizards. Armor? Oh, don't bother. Duck into the shadows or behind some hulking warrior when a fight breaks out. Yeah, as a wizard in 1st and 2nd edition, you do not step into battle. Because first of all intelligence monsters will come hunting for you because one, you can cast spells on them and they don't want you to do that. And two, you could kill them with some of your spells and they don't want that. So because casting spells in first and second edition, in first edition, all spell casting triggers at the end of the round if it's a number of segments up into one round. It always triggers at the end. So if you don't have initiative and the enemies have initiative, you actually start casting when the enemies are starting their actions. And so they see you like moving your hands and saying the arcane words, pulling out your sand or whatever. You're plucking an eyelash. And then suddenly there's like, get him! And they charge over to the wizard, kill him. Or even if they just like, literally, if they just bump into you. All they have to do is like blow in your eyes and make you blink. And then you lose your spell. Like the whole spell is lost, wiped from your mind. That's how hard wizards are. And they have very little hit points. So you have to hide. You have to protect your wizards. And that's the other thing I think about the main difference between Advanced Dungeons & Dragons and 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons is that 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, everyone can just trigger a spell. Everyone has like cantrips or spells. You just get a feat and you can cast magic. So it's not special and you could be a wizard using weapons who can heal in 5th edition with no problems, without breaking any rules. That's the 5th edition rule. It's like everything in the kitchen sink. You can do anything and everything. In 1st edition, you have to use tactics and think. You have to be like, okay, well, we have our rogue. Let's get him in the shadows and have him move around the backside so he can backstab and do insane amounts of damage. We have to get the warriors standing in front of where the priest and the wizard are so that they can cast their spells and not get past this massive hulking warrior. And then, have your support classes sit there and buff people like your priests and your bards or whatever, and just take care of crowd control and stuff. But you have to use those class tactics, and that's where video games got their idea of classes and their class tactics. They got it from D&D. And ironically, 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons asked them to reference video games in order to make their rules. So it's this weird, like, turducken, where it's like, no, MMORPGs got their mechanics from AD&D. AD&D 4th edition got their mechanics from MMORPGs. What are you doing? This is this weird incestuous rule play thing going on. You like Ben from Questing Beast. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, is that a role-playing troupe or something? You get good ideas from the guy from Dungeon Craft Channel. You like his time threat concept for encounters. Dungeon Craft. Oh, I know him. That's the dude. Yeah, I know who he is. I've never seen him run a game. Tasselhoff is your favorite character, playing Dooley Swiftfoot in 5 Nice. Dooley Swiftfoot. That's cool. All right, so anyway, gathering information. Before you rush right into your first dungeon you hear about, ask some questions. Yeah, find out what you're going up against, if at all possible. And then I like this, the social factor. Gaming sessions are social events in the real world. Try to arrive on time. It's terribly annoying to have 5 or 6 characters all fixed up and ready to go adventuring, but feeling that they have to wait for the wizard to arrive. Have the items you need with you. You're going to need pencils and paper, your own dice. That's awesome. Try not to be a rules lawyer. Great advice. Try not to laugh too hard when other fellow characters die, and it's his own silly fault. If you're friends, I think that's fine. Laugh at them. Encourage everyone to take an active role. Hear, hear. Lastly, but certainly not least, don't take things too seriously. We've all played with someone who takes this way too seriously, and it's not fun at all. All right, so the chapter 3 is tips on role playing. Your personality traits, casting against type, expressing traits, language. Look, a couple of hobgoblins. Let's jump them. Voice, gesture, and mannerisms. And then NPCs, the importance of role-playing. I love that. And then what would you do? All right, hold on, I want to see this. This chapter contains a sampling of encounters or portions of encounters designed for solo play. Players should use their newly created characters fully equipped to play these encounters. That's cool. And it's got upside down answers. So the initial questions you answer, and then you check to see if you got them right. You got a Thenelite infantryman. The Thenelites were this organization that their master raised the dead and controlled massive hordes of undead. A very, very scary group. This is cool. I'm going to have to do a solo play of this. I think that would be fun, and then we'll see how right or wrong I am. Thief encounters. Oh, this has encounters for everyone. Priest encounters. Oh, heck yeah. Wait, friends can kill you. She accompanies the rest of her group to a marketplace to buy supplies. While there, she notices the thief in the party picking the pocket of a near passerby. There are two questions. What should you do? What might the result of not doing anything? This is great because this is going to help you understand the trope of what the class is expected to do versus what you as a player would end up doing. And you can sort of marry the two of them, creating your own hybrid version of what people expect. So at least you're still hitting on the main touch points of that character type without actually completely shocking players by not doing anything like they would expect. He's in the middle of a long corridor, a mere 10 feet wide and extending about 100 feet in either direction. Without warning, 4 tough human bandits suddenly drop in, only 30 feet in front of you, through a trap door in the ceiling. Luckily, the wizard's not surprised. He has prepared your choice of the following spells, sleep or color spray. Before casting the spell, ask yourself, how will the decision to use a spell affect the initiative roll? What will happen if your wizard chooses to cast a spell and loses initiative? What other options does the wizard have? All right, hold on. I'm going to flip this around. Can I... Wait, what? It's this one. Oh, I can't rotate this? Come on, man. Ugh. That's stupid. All right. I got to turn my head. The casting time for the spell is added to the initiative die roll. Since the low roll gets the initiative, spell casting reduces the odds of going first. Nice. Any hit will also likely kill the wizard. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Ooh, Draconian. He looks cool. Your first adventure. And then this is where you get your players together. This chapter is for the DM only. If you plan to play a character in this adventure, do not read beyond this point. Let's see. How many characters is this? Is it like 6 or... I'm trying to find the note here of how many. It's usually at the very beginning of the adventure. I'm not seeing it. You need the time of the dragon box set. I want to play this so bad. I want to play this right now. Ugh. This would be so much fun. Yeah! Smack that cow in the head. Look at this generic character sheet. Just hot garbage. We used to just use lined paper and make them on lined paper. Okay, so this is it. I mean, what do you guys think? Should I do a first quest playthrough of one of the adventures and maybe more of them with the audio? Or should I do a New Beginnings playthrough as the starter sets for 2nd edition? Because Both of them are second edition. One's in Dragonlance and Taladas. The other one is, I think, in Mystara and clearly Spelljammer in one of them. So who knows? What are you going to do? The Thief character class has been ruined by later editions. The backstabbing rule makes no sense, and anyone can try to pick a lock. Yeah. Imagine the Chronicles if Raceland showed up late and Dekesis and Ericus destroyed Lorana in the party. In your original DL game, Kissanth torched Sturm. Oof. Brutal. Use figures from Games Workshop to help with your campaigns. Nice. Trying to wrap your head around Warriors of Krynn. Bought it a few years ago. Not played it yet. Currently in a Shadow of Dragon Queen game. I've got how to play Warriors of Krynn board game video on my channel. And if you're a member of this channel, a YouTube member, there's a how to set up Warriors of Krynn video in Roll20. So it shows you how I would set up Warriors of Krynn so that we could all play it in virtual environment. And you could just extrapolate that out to any other VTT of your choice. But it's only available to members. So 99 cents basically, I think. Oh wait, no, it's the second tier. So I think it's like $1.99 or something like that a month. But you would get all of the gaming material that I release. And I have everything from D&D Adventure System stuff to Warriors of Krynn, Saga system stuff, Kaz, all the board games, the original Dragonlance board games, Mage Stones, all of them. They're all available on the second tier of membership on YouTube. But it's all set up already for VTTs. So you literally just download the zip file, unzip it, upload it to your VTT, and set it up on your VTT board, and then play it with your friends. It's that simple. Very cool. All right, so first quest with the audio. I think that would be the most fun. You maintain the best war sim game of any D&D setting is the War of the Lance. Yeah, and I've only played the battle system once, but I'm really, really wanting to play the battle system with the different DL modules when it pops up. Because once you get to Ice Reach, that's a battle system war against the Dragon High Lord down there, Fieldfast. So I want to run that so badly. I think it would be so much fun. I've already run the battle between Verminard and his Dragon Army forces invading Quillinesty, and I ended up defending Quillinesty successfully in that battle. It's such a good time. Great session last Tyranny of Dragons for you guys. Great follow through with your players on the consequences of their actions yet again. Ooh, that was a brutal game session that I didn't know anything was going to happen like that. It all took me by surprise. And so I was rolling, improving with the characters at that time, and just like, all right, well, this is what happens. All right, this is what happened, just totally off the cuff. And it went dark real quick. Real quick. I have no idea where we're going to go from there. But, well, that's not true. I have some ideas now, but when it happened, I was just like, how the hell am I going to finish this module? I can't do this adventure anymore. But I've got ideas now. In any case, I think First Quest would be a really fun game, especially with the audio on it. So I'll include the show notes in the website landing page, and I'll copy and paste them into the actual description of this video so that you guys can check, or you can just search it yourself. It's very easy to find. Just First Quest audio CD, and it comes up. The one I've been there's a couple of them. The one I've been referencing is from Robert Greene, his YouTube channel, and it's pretty good. I mean, he's got not just the audio track, but he has video elements too to help with immersion with the audio tracks. So he's done a really great job doing this, and so I want to give him props for. Maybe I'll just share his thing here. What happened after the lights went off last game in Tyranny of Dragons? Any hurt feelings? No, I think Lehigh was the most affected by any other than anyone once we stopped the feed. Boros understood the situation and he fully accepted it. He already has another character that he's going to be bringing in. So he's 100% ready. I think I was very stunned. The other players were super shocked. Kithris called in because he had to leave early. And so he didn't, he was listening to the feed as he was going to work. And he called into the Discord server and he was like, "What happened? What is going on?" He freaked out, which was a lot of fun. But this is Dungeons and Dragons, I mean, you have to be ready for stuff to just do a quick 180 and you have to be able to just roll with the punches. And that's what we did. And it ended up started for me as a little bit frustrating and a little bit dull for the viewers. Adventure ended up being nail biting. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? How is this? Is this working? I kept getting this note that it's restarted. And is this feed working for you guys? My streaming software is telling me that I get cut off or something. I don't understand. In any case, it was a lot of fun, and we do have plans to still move forward, obviously. And so it should work out pretty well. It dropped for just a second. Okay, appreciate that. My internet has been going crazy today. Really crazy. And it's really frustrating dealing with it. But I'm glad that it's not totally cutting me off. In any case, I think that's going to do it for today's episode. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. I think I'm going to try to get a guest for the next session. I'm not sure who yet, but I'm going to reach out to and see what I can do. I'm sure it gets boring just listening to me wax on about Dragonlance ad nauseum. So we'll see what it's like with some other people or at least one other person. In any case, that's all the time we have to hang out today. What do you think of these starter sets? Would you like to play through a starter set adventure? Feel free to email me at info@dlsaga.com or leave a comment below. I would like to take a moment and remind you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, ring the bell to get notified about upcoming videos, and click the like button. It goes to help other Dragonlance fans learn about this channel and its content. This channel is all about celebrating the wonderful world of the Dragonlance Saga. Thank you so much for joining in that celebration, and thank you for watching. This has been Adam with Dragonlance Saga. Until next time, Slanjavar.